Hi there, this is June, and I'm going to make a little project that I'm hoping will show you the basics of machine learning so you can start to understand how it all works. So the thing that I'm using today is called Teachable Machine, and it's a little tool from Google that helps you provide a user interface for training models. Okay, so I went to Teachable Machine here, and I'm going to say get started. And the sort of project I'm going to make is an image project. Okay, so if you haven't seen this before, there's 3 sections and there are 3 parts to most machine learning projects. You can see them written over here too. Step 1, you want to gather samples. That's the data that we're using as input. Then we're going to train our model, and I'll be talking a little bit more about what a model is in a moment, and then export it to do something useful with it. So I'm going to start over here and I'm going to make 2 classes. Those are 2 distinct things that I'm going to teach my machine to tell the difference between them. And this one's going to be a very serious project. So I'm going to teach it to tell the difference between when my mouth is closed and when my tongue is out. Alright, these are 2 classes that I've made, and now I've got to put some data in there so that the computer can figure out how to associate mouth closed with certain images and tongue out with others. With this I have 2 options. I could upload if I had the files or the photos already taken, but I'm just going to go off the cuff here and do webcam. That's me. Hi. Okay, so first I'm going to do mouth closed, and I'm going to have to stop talking to you while I do this. I'm going to just adjust my camera so I've got more face. Less bike in the background, maybe. Okay, so the aim is I'm going to try and upload at least 100 of these images of me with my mouth closed. So you'll see when I start, close mouth. Now I'm holding down that button, so now I'm talking, I'm not holding the button, so it's not making any recordings. But you kind of want to prepare your face before you start, because I wouldn't want this going into my nice collection of mouth closed samples. So what's happening here is when I press this button, my webcam is taking a video, and then this Teachable Machine tool is breaking it down into frames, and this is what's going to be used as the input for our machine. Okay, I'm going to take a few more, and you'll see me moving around a little bit so that it can tell that my mouth's closed if I'm in different positions. I changed my eyes and stuff like that to make sure that it's not depending on where I'm looking, where I'm sitting. And it looks like I have 182. So I'm going to start on the tongue out category. So I practiced this before and I ended up doing this a lot. So I was like, but then I was getting images of my mouth closed and it didn't work out. So I'm going to delete these. See, here's one with a mouth closed. These are all mouth closed and I don't want to confuse it. So I'm going to go here and remove all samples. So we start fresh. Tongue out. Okay. Okay, I have 199. I want to make sure that these numbers are fairly similar, because if not, again, it gets biased and then it wants to do, if there was like way more tongue out pictures, then it would kind of err on that side. Okay, so now I've collected the data for those 2 classes. My classes are called mouth closed and tongue out. The next thing I want to do is train my model. This is going to take a little while so I can talk at you in the background. So what's going on now? Well, the math behind it is actually pretty intense, and we're going to delve into that a little bit more later. For the moment, all you really need to know is that training like a computer is something like you would train for a marathon, or say you were learning to play the violin. So what it's doing is it's taking each of these pictures of me with my mouth closed and it's running it through and it's saying, this is a mouth closed image, this is a tongue out image, and it manages to distinguish between those using a bunch of math. And then it saves all of those rules that it's discovered in this thing called a model. All right, this is my preview. So it's looking at me here and it's going to try and tell if my mouth's closed or open. So you can see with the output, okay, mouth closed. And that's working pretty well. So tongue out seems to work great. I'm not convinced that mouth closed is working right though. That's good. That's okay. So there's a little bit of choppiness at some points there, and we might discover when I actually export and make my program that I might need to adjust it a bit and make it more accurate. But for now, this will do. So I'm going to say I'm going to export my model. And I want to show you what a model is, so I'm going to actually download it here. You don't really need to worry about these things right now. We're going to do tensorflow.js. And I'm going to download the model so I can show you guys what's inside. It's a pretty mysterious thing if you're thinking about how it's possible to save the understanding, the learning that the machine has done, and then the rules that it's created in order to tell the difference between mouth closed and tongue out. It takes all of that stuff and saves it in this file called a model. And the model is a magical thing because you can then use it with completely fresh data. So it's going to have a new picture of my head with my mouth closed or open that it's never seen before. Yet it'll be able to categorize it into one of the two classes using just the model. All right, so I'm going to show you the model. It's here in my Finder. It downloaded as a zip file. So I'm going to open that. Okay, and here we've got 3 different files. I want you to see the sizes so you can get how big do you think this model thing would need to be, considering the stuff that it's doing and the cleverness that it has. Well, it's actually surprisingly small. This is 2 megs. That's about the same size as a song. And that's the main part of this. So we've got the wait stop bin. That's a binary file with a bunch of numbers. And then we've got 2 human readable things. I'm actually going to open those so you can see. So here's the metadata. It just opened here. I'm going to format it so that it looks a little better. Beautify. All right, so this is the metadata, and it's talking about a bunch of different settings. And all of these things are just kind of describing the higher level things about my model. One important part is that here are the labels. A label is another word for what we call a class. You'll see it called class in other places. And so there's 2 you can see, one for mouth closed and tongue out. What else do we have? We have the model.json. Okay, this is a really crucial part. Humans don't usually read this stuff, but I am kind of curious, so I wanted to show you guys too. I'm going to beautify it so you can see it's in JSON format. That means that there are they're key value pairs and they're separated by curly braces like this. So here is the model.json, and this is what we call the topology of the neural network. It's kind of like the architecture, and that's how the layers are laid out, what kinds they are, and what hyperparameters they have. Okay, so you can see here there's layers. You're going to have multiple layers. There's a sequential one, there's a convolutional pad, there's like a whole bunch of stuff in here that's really not what we're going to go into now, but I wanted to kind of have an idea of what's going on underneath the covers when this teachable machine is doing its magic for us. So it's actually created this, and it's used this thing called Tensorflow. You'll see the word Tensorflow around a lot. It's a library that you use to do machine learning. All right, so there's our model. Now this is the one that we're interested in, wait stop bin. Okay, so this is not really human readable. And if it was, we just see a bunch of numbers that really wouldn't make any sense to us. What it contains are the trained weights that the training has created, and these are used to make new predictions. I'm going to go into a little bit more about how this works in the next part of the course. But for now, here's a bunch of gobbledygook, and here's some stuff that kind of makes sense, and here is really all we kind of know about now, which is that we have two classes. Okay, so back to my project. Alright, so I had trained my model, and now I'm going to do something with it. And I'm going to do stuff with it with this thing called Processing 5, which is awesome, and it lets you write JavaScript code right in the browser and make little visual things. Okay, so to do anything with your model, you have to share it. So I'm going to upload it right now. And I can tell, because see the way it says here, your shareable link, and it's got a bunch of dots? That's because it doesn't exist yet. So I'm going to say upload my model. What it's doing is it's putting it up on Google, and Google's going to serve it up so that I can make requests of my model, and I don't have to actually know where the file is or what it's doing. I'll show you what it looks like. This is just an endpoint. It's a place where the model is going to live, and we're going to be able to query it. Hey, there's me again. And here you can see that it's got these three files that I just showed you. All right, that was just a little aside. What I really want to do is open processing. Okay, I clicked on that. That's going to open the processing window for me. But I actually want to get this code. This code is a really great way to test your model in the Processing 5 environment. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to dump it over in here. And I bet you guys didn't catch, but it actually populated that model that's ending in 6QR, etc. That was my model that I uploaded to Google. See, 6QR, and that's my own thing. And it will possibly always be there until the end of time or the server goes off. Okay, let's play this and see what happens. Ah, it's me again. All right, so this is thinking that my tongue's out. You're going to be watching a lot of this serious machine learning. I think that's working good enough for my purposes right now. What I actually wanted to do is when I've got my tongue out, I'm going to show a big emoji, and I want much less in my face. So I think I'm going to move myself off to the side. I'm going to give you a quick run through what this code is doing here. So I exported this template from Teachable Machine. I was over in here, and then they very nicely gave this snippet, which is doing a lot of the stuff that I need for the base of most of my projects that I'm doing in here. Okay, so we have a setup. That's the stuff that happens only once when you start this up. This is how processing works. You've got a setup and a draw method, and the setup method happens once at the beginning, and the draw method happens repeatedly over and over. So like a couple of times a second. So in the setup method, I'm creating the canvas. This is the little canvas with me in it. And then it's setting the size, and it's flipping the video. So the reason it's flipping the video is if I could see myself from the side, from the view of the camera, I'd look like I was backwards. So it would feel kind of weird. So I wanted to sort of be like as if I'm looking in a mirror, because that's what we're used to. So that's why we flip the video. So get all of the pixels on that side, put them over that side, and make it into a mirror image. All right, then we're drawing some things. The most important thing we're drawing is the label. So like I said before, the label is another word for the class. And we have two classes in this project. You can see them flipping over and back there as I talk. So mouth closed and tongue out, those are my two classes, not four. All right, and those are also called labels. So in this program, this is actually a sketch. It's called, from processing, a little program in processing is called a sketch. And I'm having this label print out, and that's why it's saying mouth closed. I can just check that just to be sure, see see if I know what this program is doing. Stopped it, started it again, and so it's saying hello. Just so that you can see what's happening there. So this is where the label goes, and it's doing the prediction. So I know that this is an important variable. It contains whether I have mouth closed or mouth open, whether the machine thinks that I have my mouth closed or mouth open. So what I'm going to do is put an if statement in here. This is a very basic if statement. So if label is mouth closed, well, actually I'll do tongue out first. Then I'm going to put on the screen, I'm just going to draw some text. For now, I'm just going to say out. And then I want to position it on the screen. So here's a guideline. Sometimes we use this width. That's the width of the canvas divided by 2. I think I'm just going to put, say, let's just do 100 there. And see where it shows up. This is only going to get executed if it thinks that I have my tongue out. So you see the way it's showing it there in white, out. Okay, that I actually want to be an emoji. So I'm going to go over here into another browser window and I'm going to find out a tongue emoji. All right, there's this one. You guys can pick whichever ones you want, but I like the kind of crazy face one. And that has the eye kind of sideways. Crazy face. This one, zany face. Yeah, all right, so I'm gonna copy that and I'm gonna jam it in here into my processing sketch. All right, so I would hope to see that zany face when I stick my tongue out. Let's see. The tension. Oh, right. Okay, it's tiny. Look, it's right there on my eyeball, but I'm gonna make it bigger. And how do you make things bigger? Well, there's a clue here in my processing sketch. See, I can say text size, and I'm gonna make that bigger. Right here, I'm putting it above my if statement because I'm also going to have an emoji for tongue, for mouth closed, and I want it to be the same size. Okay, let's go big. Haha, yeah, all right, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, the problem with it is it's way up there and I need it to come down. But before I work on the position, I'm going to make my canvas bigger because I'm only wee here and we might as well make it big. All right, I'll say canvas size. This is the width, this is the height. This is a pretty standard 800 by 600 back in the old days that none of you remember when we had small little monitors. This looks like a nice size. I like it. This is fun. All right, now that guy needs to be somewhere here in the middle. Where is it being drawn? Here's zany face. So now it's at 100. Now I wonder if I can show you guys this. Ooh, I'm gonna turn that guy off so I can actually show you what I'm trying to do. Stop. Okay, so 100 is a little bit down and a little bit over. So I want to show you, right? So here, this very corner right here is 0, 0. So if I go 100 width, I'm going to go over 100 pixels there. And then I'm going to also go 100 pixels down. And that's why my emoji was showing up around there. Okay, now that I have it commented out over here, it's not showing up. So I'm going to put it back in again, like that. And then I should see my emoji popping up again. At 100. All right, now I'm going to move that down a bit. Let's say 400. Okay, that's good. All right, sweet. I like him there. Now, there's a lot of this stuff going on. Let's add the one for the smile. Okay, so I have if label tongue out. This is what you guys will be doing later. You just get that, you copy that. I'm going to switch it over to mouth closed. And then I'm going to switch the emoji out. So the one that I'm looking for is, I'm just going to do like a smile so that it's going to show either the tongue out or the smile guy. I like this slightly smiling face. Mouth closed. Switching over the emoji. I copied that from the web and now I'm dumping it in there. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's cool. Now I would like to get rid of me here, or at least make me a little smaller. So let's see if I can put me down here in the corner. All right, video. This is the video size. It's currently 320 by 240. So let's just make that half the size by dividing it by 2. Well, look at that. All right, so my sketch does not seem to be working very well right now. So what did I do? I made the image of me, I made the video smaller, and now it's not working. So just to see if that's what really happened, I'm going to take my change out and go back to the way I was. All right, so it's working better when I have this size, and I have an idea of why that might be. Probably because when I trained, I used a certain size here that it's expecting. Actually, now that I'm looking in here, this is a square, whereas this is a rectangle. So I'll change that. We'll probably not miss anything off the side. And now I'm going to run it and just make sure it works again. Okay. So what I wanted to do was put myself way down here in the corner so I don't have to look at myself all the time. And to do that, here's where the image is at, and this is the X and Y. The X and Y down there, it gets to be a lot. So I'm going to say, so if this is 800 minus the size that I have right now. It might be better to use variables for this, but I'm just doing this real quick. So say what I'm doing is that's the width, and then I'm subtracting the width of my little picture so that then it will go down there, but it won't fall off of the canvas. Okay, so I'm kind of fairly happy with this, but if I had more time, which I don't, because I want you guys to test this out and try it by yourselves and get an idea of like what the 3 steps are, sort of from a high level. See down here how it gets, the bar goes to 100 like that, and sometimes it's less. That's the confidence level, and you can always tell how confident your prediction is by looking at that. So if I was to make another version, I might actually use that data, that piece of information, to decide whether to show my tongue out for sure. If I was really, really sure if it was a tongue out, like 100%. And that might make it a little better. Or then sometimes you have to just adjust your training. Take a look at the images here. Make sure you have like this roughly about the same number in all of the classes. And then lighting sometimes changes things, so I think I might come back here tomorrow and then record something in different light with my hair washed. I don't know if that's going to have a difference. Anyway, so this is a sketch that I've made. I'm going to share this so that you guys can find it under bit.ly and then /tongue sketch like that. And what you should do is train your own model with tongues out, tongues in. Use Teachable Machine to do that. When you're done, export your model, upload it, and then get this all-important link to your model so that you can substitute it. So go into mine and then change where it has the model specified here. By the way, this is a string, and strings are green in Processing 5, and they're always surrounded by quotes. This one has a single quote. You could have a double quote, but see the way you know something's off? So you need to have one of these at either side. You know something's off if it's not green. See, it's not going to like that at all. So make sure that you have your model URL, the address of your model, in between either double or single quotes. Okay, I hope you have fun looking like a bit of a silly person in your class, and then make sure to test this on your friends so that you can see if it works for them too. All right, see you later. Bye.